the flaws in evolution, and the superiority of intelligent design. Atheists and evolutionists often claim that naturalistic explanations provide a complete understanding of life's complexity and origins. However, their arguments frequently fall short of addressing critical gaps, logical inconsistencies, and the failure to produce a comprehensive framework. In contrast, intelligent design, ID, offers a coherent, evidence-based alternative that stands as the most plausible explanation for the complexity and fine-tuning of life. 1. The incompleteness of evolutionary explanations. Evolutionary theory relies on natural selection and random mutation as mechanisms for the development of life's complexity. However, these mechanisms face insurmountable challenges. Lack of empirical evidence for gradualism. Evolutionists claim that small, incremental changes over time lead to complex structures, but they fail to provide a step-by-step empirical pathway for irreducibly complex systems such as the bacterial flagellum, the eye, or the blood clotting cascade. The origin of information. DNA contains a staggering amount of specified information, akin to a highly sophisticated computer code. Evolutionists cannot adequately explain how this information originated. Appeals to random mutation and selection lack the creative power to generate novel, functionally specific sequences. Abiogenesis and the origin of life. Despite decades of research, the origin of the first self-replicating cell remains unexplained. Evolution presupposes the existence of life, but offers no credible solution for how life began from non-living matter. 2. Logical inconsistencies in atheistic and evolutionary arguments, superiority without justification. As you pointed out, claiming one theory is superior without providing substantial evidence or reasoning renders the argument void. Evolutionists often dismiss ID as inferior without engaging with its empirical claims. This tactic is not a rebuttal, but an evasion of scientific debate. Naturalism as a presupposition. Evolutionary arguments frequently assume naturalism, and a priori commitment to excluding intelligent causation. This philosophical bias leads to circular reasoning, where naturalism is assumed true and then used to dismiss ID without consideration. 3. The coherence and superiority of intelligent design. Intelligent design does not suffer from the shortcomings of evolutionary theory because it begins with the observable evidence and applies inferential reasoning to the best explanation. Specified complexity. ID identifies patterns in nature that are both complex and specified, characteristics reliably associated with intelligent causation. For example, the functional information in DNA resembles human-designed systems far more than it resembles random or unguided processes. Irreducible complexity. ID demonstrates that certain biological systems require all components to function together, meaning they could not have arisen incrementally through Darwinian mechanisms. Evolutionists have not successfully refuted this principle with empirical evidence. Testable predictions. ID has made accurate predictions that evolutionists failed to anticipate. For example, ID proponents predicted functional roles for so-called junk DNA, a prediction confirmed by recent discoveries in genomics. 4. Misrepresentation of ID as religion. Critics often mischaracterize ID as a religious belief rather than a scientific framework. This is a straw man argument that ignores ID's methodological approach. ID focuses on detecting design based on empirical data, not on identifying the designer. This distinction separates ID from creationism and makes it a legitimate scientific inquiry. 5. Evolution's dogmatic. Hold. The continued adherence to evolutionary explanations despite their empirical and logical shortcomings reveals a dogmatic commitment rather than an objective pursuit of truth. Evolutionists often refuse to acknowledge these issues, opting instead to dismiss ID as unscientific without engaging its arguments on their merits. Conclusion. The argument for the superiority of evolution over intelligent design is flawed because it fails to address the critical gaps in evolutionary theory and dismisses ID without proper justification. ID stands as the most comprehensive explanation for the complexity of life, providing a framework grounded in evidence and logical reasoning. By addressing the weaknesses of evolution and highlighting the strengths of ID, it becomes clear that ID is not only a valid alternative, but the only answer to life's intricate design.